All right, so let's ask this question. Let's start with this jumping off point. What's the best Future project to you?
DS2.
I might say the same thing. DS2.
I would say DS2 as well. So since we all said DS2, let's take the next one down. What do you think's like the next coolest Future project? And that could be personal taste. You don't even really gotta like think that hard on it. But the first one that comes to mind, maybe. I would say like Monster. The Monster tape is a big one. I even have respect for you know what's like kind of an underrated Future project is Honest. So this was like right before or after the mixtape series started. So when he did all those 5 tapes, like real back to back, 56 Nights and Monster and all them. This is when he was still with Ciara, I think, or just after he was with Ciara. So it's like he kind of does like a whole range of sounds. It's like got pop stuff, but it's also got like that song with Pusha T. And then that's also got the What You Tola song with Andre 3000 on it.
Yeah, actually, that is fire.
That's like a underrated, like kind of almost not forgotten, but like low key forgotten about like Future project.
It's actually kind of hard for me to like pick one because I rarely listen to Future projects. Like I just kind of like skim through his catalog.
Yeah.
And, like playlists or something.
My second question was gonna be, when I say Future, what is the first song that comes to your mind?
Oh man, that fucking Moneybag song, because I listen to that like every day. The one with Drake off of their thing together.
Plastic Bags, I think.
Plastic Bag, yeah. I listen to that shit like every day for like a year.
That's a random one.
I know, it's really random.
Jalen, what's the first song that comes to mind to you when you think?
I think I believe like March Madness is like the first one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
March Madness is a good one. The two that come to mind randomly, not that random, Cody and Crazy and Mask Off.
Yeah, those two too.
Yeah.
I think Mask Off that's got to be one of his biggest to date. Yeah, that on Spotify alone has 880 million streams, and granted, it's like 4 years old at this point, but
that was like his meme joint.
Yeah, that was the song that blew up like way bigger than you thought it would. But yeah, so that's, I mean, my perspective with Future is, I mean, I've been listening to him for, a good while. We kind of all have, and we've seen him really develop quite a bit. I mean, again, if you're going back to the Honest album and then the Pluto albums before that, and you think about where he got during that mixtape run, and you think about where he is today, I mean, that's at least 3 big turnarounds, I think, when you mark him from going from an underground act to a pop act with the release of Honest that actually had some singles on it that had some push, to then maybe this transition from talking about drugs in his career a lot to being maybe like post that drug era for him seemed like a big deal. And so that's when we get to, I mean, that's pretty recent, right? That's like, we're talking about at least the Future Hendrix albums, and then it wasn't until like this Beast Mode 2 and the Future and Juice WRLD shit came out, and the Future the Wizard project came out, that he had kind of made it known to everybody that he had this kind of turn in his career where he stopped doing drugs and he stopped making the content so much about that. But I don't know, he's still talking about a lot of drugs on this anyways. So there's that.
Toxic.
I have this little section though that I love, which is actually from about Solitaires with Travis Scott, so 4 to 7. So Riding Strikers, One of My, and Posted with Demons. Oh, and 8, Hard to Choose One. So right up until the Young Boy feature, I really enjoyed.
I like my favorite stretch is from like 12 to the Lil Uzi. So you got Pray for a Key, Too Comfortable, All Bad. That 3-song stretch is pretty nice.
Yeah, overall, man, I'm not gonna lie, I've really grappled with this project back and forth like the whole weekend. I would say I've given it maybe 3 listens. And I had one listen where I was like, that was fire. First listen, I was like, that was dope. This is probably the second coming of Future. Like he's back, DS2 style. And then I had a second listen to it. And I'm not usually like this, but I thought it was ass cheeks, like the second listen. Like I literally had a couple moments of thinking it was like honest, like, are my ears broken? Like, and so yesterday I had my third listen to it, and that was probably the most even keel one where I had some pockets that I liked, and I didn't. And then I realized, there's just some, this album's pretty long. It's full of ideas, and not every one of them is all that interesting. So, with that being said, if you listen to the whole thing, how much of it do you think you really, really enjoyed? And I mean, we could talk runtime, like, if this is an hour and 10 minutes, like how many minutes of music do you think roughly is super enjoyable? I would say maybe like 35 to 40, which is around half.
Yeah.
I don't know. With Future, it's hard for me to digest this project because like after like the first 3, I kind of want to turn it off.
I don't know, because I was kind of the same way as you, but I was in the opposite. Like when I first listened to it, I was like, this is bad. Like, I'm not into this at all. And I think it's because the first 7 tracks, 7 or 6 or 7 tracks, I was like, I'm not really feeling this. But then the latter half, I kind of like more.
Right.
So then once I got through it and then listened to it a second time, I knew that second half was coming, and I kind of was into it a little more. But then I kind of settled in the middle. I don't know. I'd probably say the same. Like say like 30 to 35 minutes are like needed of this.
Yeah.
And then you could probably fill it with like another 10.
Another 10, 20 is like some okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when you start getting into like another 35 minutes, it's like, yo, right.
Mm-hmm.